there was a big skeleton of a man. He put his bony hands together and he was engulfed in fire. And I said, oh, Jesus, what has he done? He said to the man, oh, peace be still. What are you here for and what is your name? And the man told him his name. He said, I was a preacher of your word, but I was very prejudiced. I hated anybody of any kind of skin color except white. I told the whole church nobody was going to heaven but the white nationality. And Jesus said, you knew my word. You read my word. The scriptures talk about all nations are coming unto God. And the man said, but Lord, I had so much hate against different nationalities. I was so prejudiced. And he said, is it too late for me if I repent to you now? And the Lord looked at him. He said, the judgment of my Father has been set. And when he said that, flames rose up on him. And he began to curse and blaspheme the Lord. And we walked away in horror. I said, oh, my God. And then he showed me, like, people in the cult, like I told you, in the center of hell. He showed me the murderers. He showed me the haters. He showed me the ones that are prejudiced. This is a subject that a lot of people don't like to talk about, but God does not see color. Listen, love knows no color of our skin. And what you have to do is love you one another as Christ loved us. And we have to watch what we say, because that brings roots of bitterness and hatefulness. And in hell, there was a section for people like that. And the next one we come to was a voice of a woman. And she had one leg. One was missing. And Jesus said, if anybody dies and comes to hell with a disease, the disease is 10 times stronger in hell. Said if they come to hell and they're blind in hell. He said if they come to hell with one hand, they only have one hand in hell, the skeleton. I said, Lord, I never knew hell was like this. I never understood that a soul burns forever and ever, cannot die. And he said, they're reaping what they've sown. And we walked up where that woman was, had one leg. And he said, peace be still. I always said, peace be still. What are you doing here? What is your name? She said, I loved you, I served you, but then I got cancer. And said that they had to amputate my leg. And I began to hate you. I began to blaspheme you. And I told everybody you gave me this cancer. And Jesus kept listening to her. And she said, oh, Jesus, please forgive me now. And he said to her, the preachers came to you, right? The prophets came to you, right? She said, yes, they told me to repent. But she said, I died hating you. And when I died, my soul come out of my body. And the demons brought me here. This is my judgment. She says, is there any more hope for me? And the Lord said, the judgment of my Father has been set. And we walked away with a woman screaming and crying. And I was in Detroit City preaching Bill a few years ago. And I told that story. And a young man came up and he said, Miss Baxter, I believe that was my grandmother. He said, we stood around her bed when she died. It had her leg amputated, screaming and blaspheming God. And we told her, don't say that, don't say that. And she died in that state. And I thought, dear God, we got to think about this. Think about hard. You know, and you're walking with the King and you see his pure love. And you see all of these skeletons mocking and still cursing him. You see some of them that don't, though. They cry, but no tears come. And they'll say, give me another chance. I cry for death and death don't come. And they'll beg, they'll get on their knees and beg, and Jesus begins to weep. And he had raised his hands up and screamed, my Father, have mercy. And when he did, the fires, if they were over their heads, would die around their ankles for a few moments. And the torment wasn't so bad.